welcome to Phuket, Thailand. We are here at the hotel at the resort, which I've already forgotten the name of, and that's okay. But we got in here about 9 o'clock last night and are having an amazing time. We're just going to spend some time in the pool here this morning, and then have our buffet breakfast here in about an hour. And then this afternoon we will travel into Phuket and visit some shopping in the downtown area and just kind of tour around there with our tour guide. She's anxious to get us out and show us around some things. We will spend a couple of days just kind of doing our own thing, but then they also have some things lined up for us that we'll take part of, and I really don't even know what all that is as I sit here. But I feel this way every morning. I just feel so blessed and so grateful for the change that have come into my life the last 8.5 months, and the way that I now feel in control of my health and of my metabolism and of my weight. And it's been such an amazing blessing. I have my una mate here this morning that's helping me to carry out my fast here until about 10 a.m. And what a blessing it is to just feel like you have control. And and I feel that way now. And it's not only a physical healing that I've experienced the last 8 months, but with the understanding that I've gained and the way that our body really works, and the way that weight loss is not a calories in, calories out issue. It's not all about diet and exercise. All those things can't be ignored, but weight loss is all about understanding and controlling your hormones, and especially insulin. When you can understand the impact that insulin has on your body and how to properly control that by eating appropriate foods at appropriate times and using intermittent fasting to control insulin, you can do really amazing things with your health. And you don't need a doctor's permission. You don't need a GLP-1 shot. You don't need to introduce synthetic drugs into your body to control your appetite. You just need to understand some simple principles that will transform and change your life. And when you are coming from a difficult place like I was, very much was, where I was actually in the obese category, I needed some help from some simple nutraceuticals, some simple things that would allow me to fully embrace intermittent fasting and really put my intermittent fasting in turbo mode. And when I did that, the game changed for me in a way that I had never experienced in my life. But the other thing that has changed for me that has been just as, if not more powerful, is the understanding that I now have has healed my heart and mind, because I now understand not only my own life and the struggles that I've had throughout my 59 years, and especially since I was a teenager, where I have struggled to a greater or sometimes much lesser degree with my weight and my health. But I now also understand my mother's struggles and other people in my family and people all around me. These simple principles could have changed her life in amazing ways. And one of the things that often happens when people are struggling metabolically is they look around and they try to figure out what is wrong with me, what is wrong with my life, what is wrong with the people around me, and they start making all sorts of strange decisions and difficult choices that have a lot of negative impacts on a lot of people. And I truly believe that if she could have simply managed her metabolism, managed her health the way she wanted to, the entire world could have been different for all of us in really amazing ways. And I think that's true not only for her, but for so many people. We live in this world of ultra processed foods, and they taste good and they're easy to eat and they're often and very enjoyable, but they have a huge impact on our health, especially when we use them way too much and way too often. So amazing things have happened to me that have healed not only my body, but my heart and mind. And that's what causes me to want to get in here on a daily basis and just sing and shout. And I will continue to do that. I'll continue to sing and shout this message out as as loud and as often as I can. And I've had the opportunity to impact a few people's lives in a very profound way. And I know that as I continue to that this number will grow. So that's my introduction. Tonight we have our special guest. Not quite as special because you're here so often, Cheryl, but we always appreciate when you join us. And tonight we have the seventh edition of Cheryl's boyfriend's countdown calendar. We still got to get that calendar put together at some point. but we have the 7th edition tonight. So we're going to let Cheryl share another 8th grade boyfriend. And without further ado, I'm going to let you take it away.
All right. It's interesting what you were saying, though, because I have often said to my children and everything that if I could go study in the medical field, I would study hormones because I just think they impact us in so many ways that we don't comprehend. Being a woman, of course, I comprehend with my cycles. There's obviously something there. So there's
Oh,
these
yeah.
little things in our bodies that we don't know what they are. I guess they're proteins. We don't know what they do, but I mean, to me, they're just fascinating. Hormones is the one thing I would study if I could go back to college and study anything. So,
So I was reading Dr. Jason Fung's newest book. It's The Hunger Code. And I was just reading this on the plane last night. And it was a small section that talked about women and their cycles and how, as they're approaching ovulation, they will tend
get
to
hungry.
um, well, this was saying that their insulin will be less active, even though I think that's the period where they're actually healthier. And then when they come off of that, then they tend to insulin becomes higher, and then they gain weight because of insulin. I'd have to read it again, but you're
Right.
exact. Whichever way it is, you're
Hmm.
exactly right. There's a hormone thing going on there that causes you to gain or lose weight during that process. Um, but yeah, it is all about hormones. And sure, I totally agree with you. Like, I would love to go back and study this, but I don't have to go get a medical degree in order to help and change and transform people's lives. All I need to know is correct principles and how to apply them correctly, and you can have an amazing impact. So I'll shut up and let you do your thing. I'm going to jump in the pool here and kind of swim around while you talk.
All right. So, like, don't go away too long.
Right, right. I'll
I
be
probably this will be about a 10-minute story, probably.
okay.
All right. So, off Steve goes. Aren't those some sexy shorts he's got on? Um, he's my little brother. I can tease him. This one's kind of tender for me. This happened at the end of my 8th grade year, between my 8th and 9th grade year. We were Steve and I were always involved in 4-H, and we always had dairy calves and heifers to show at the fair. So we were actually involved with what then was called the Boys 4-H Club. So there was basically a room full of boys and me and Jackie Boyer and I think one other girl. I think there were three of us and maybe 25 guys. So, right up my alley. But I was actually the first female president of Thompson Toilers 4-H Club. So, kudos to Cheryl. Anyway, so this guy was in my 4-H club from the time I was in 4th grade. And actually, I think our fathers had gone to school together at Thompson School, something like that. Our families had been intertwined for a long time because this family also had Guernsey cattle and not very far from our farm. So my grandfather used to go over there a lot. I don't know if they were trading cattle or just getting ideas from each other. I don't know. But this family was involved with our family. They went to the same church. And so I had always kind of revered this fellow that was a year older than me in the class just above me. And his name was Jeff Ziegler. And, I would have never thought anything romantic could happen between us because he just kind of looked at me like a little sister. And, but there was just always something about Jeff. He just was so like mature and with it. And so,
He was a
this
pretty sharp guy. Yeah.
pretty sharp guy. The summer after my 8th grade year, we started doing our 4-H club meetings, and there was one meeting that I went to where I don't remember who our leader was that year. It wasn't John Hoy; it was someone else, and we had to do a demonstration occasionally. And so this was my demonstration day at 4-H club. It only happened about once a year that we had to do these demonstrations, but my demonstration was about um, poisonous plants and how to figure out which ones are poisonous and how to avoid them and this and that. So I got up and I had my little displays. I'm sure I had drawn poisonous leaves. I was a pretty good drawer back then. So I think I had 3 or 4 different. And I was explaining all the things that could happen if you touch these leaves, how you break out in bumps and things. So I was talking about the fact that they're very uncomfortable and they make you itch. And so then our 4-H club leader was really being a smart aleck, and he said, so I've got these itches, so now what am I supposed to do? And the first thing on my list was remove any infected clothing. So I said that. And so the whole 4 H club cracked up. Everybody thought I was the funniest. And so our 4 H club leader would have been naked if he'd have taken my um, advice. So everybody thought that was funny.
Who was that
And
leader?
I can't remember the leader. It wasn't John Hoy, it was a younger guy.
Huh.
And he had a real fun sense of humor, but I just can't remember who it was. So, but I do remember him asking me that question. Okay, I've got this all over my body. Now, what am I supposed to do? And I said, remove any infected clothing. That was the first thing on my list. And so everybody thought I was so funny. So we went outside for some activity after, which we always did at 4-H. I don't know if we kicked the ball around or what we did, but I know Jeff was like paying me special attention outside, and I was just like, "Am I just imagining that, or is he really like actually talking to me?" And so then each 4-H meeting, as things went on, he just started paying more and more attention to me. So I was like, "Wow, I think he like actually likes me." So that year we went to the Seneca County Fair, as we always did, third week of July. And Jeff and I struck up this little summer loving fair romance kind of thing. And, Danny and Sandy, that's what we were. So I used to just sit and watch him milk the cows, and I just like followed him around like a puppy. But he did start holding my hand, and we would walk up and down the midway and get food. And um, at the Seneca County Fair, there was this great big racetrack where they would do the harness racing every night. And so Jeff and I would go and sit in the stands and hold hands and watch the harness racing. And of course, I was just in seventh heaven because I just thought he was just the best. And so then after we watched the harness racing, I remember Steve Bain was there and he was kind of scouting a location for us. So we went like behind some of the buildings and kind
Did
of had.
Did Steve have somebody that he was kind of attached to during that time, or was that not the case?
No, he was just kind of the third wheel on our little trio.
Okay, all right.
So he went behind some buildings and found a place for us. And so we went back there and kissed. And, you know, I was still a little Mormon girl, so I didn't let anything go past that. But um, so the whole time at the fair, we were kind of romantic, which was really fun for me. And then
Wowzer.
later that summer, later that summer, there was a picnic at the Zion United Methodist Church, wherever by Thompson School there, whatever it's called, Fireside. There was some sort of a picnic there. So I showed up and Jeff happened to be there. I think I knew he was going to be there. But so we went off during the picnic and went over behind Thompson School and kissed some more. And
I didn't know all this. I mean, like I knew
I
some
know
of this story, but I didn't
it's a
know all the
secret stuff.
kissing details coming out here.
I'm sure Jeff would deny it, but it happened. So the rest of the summer went on, and our family went up to Cedarville for vacation. And I remember the whole time we were at Cedarville in the do you remember that terrible rainstorm? We were like in the back of the pickup truck camper thing and there was a terrible
Yeah,
thunderstorm.
we were on our way up, and we were somewhere near Frankenmuth when that big storm hit, and
Yeah, so dad pulled off into a campground and
there were tornadoes in the area that night. Yeah,
we hunkered down, but man, I was scared. I think us kids went like mom and dad were on the mattress and I think us kids went under the mattress. And
we
so
did.
that
Yeah.
whole time we were in Cedarville, it was like at least a week. We got a cabin up there and we
Was
met
that
some fun people up there.
Was that when the McKees came along and we went water skiing, or was that a different trip?
Um, it might have been. I think it might have been. But they might have gone on our trip that was 2 years before that when I was in seventh grade. So we went up to Cedarville twice. So this was our second time going up. And the whole time I just couldn't get Jeff off my mind. I just kept thinking about him, what a good guy he was. And um, so we got back from Cedarville and school started. And I was on the bus and Steve Boehm hopped on and he gave me this note. So I was going into ninth grade. Steve Boehm would have been going into 10th grade. So he would have been heading over to the high school. But somehow he knew my bus and he hopped on and gave me this note. So I thought, oh, Jeff's written me a nice love letter. How sweet. And so I opened it and it was basically a breakup letter, like a Dear Jane kind of thing. And just said, he just didn't think it was going to work out between us. And I mean, I was just devastated. I just cried and cried and cried. Um, it was hard. That was really hard. I really, really thought that he could like be my husband someday because he was the guy that probably reminded me the most of my dad. Just very kind of sophisticated and smart and good looking. And I just really kind of revered him. And so it really hurt that
And he was a Guernsey man. I mean, how hard
he
is it
was
to
a
find a
Guernsey
Guernsey man?
farmer and he's still doing stuff with cattle. He's got
Yeah.
this the sire thing that he does.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Jeff and I broke up, and Cheryl was very sad. And honestly, to this day, that one still hurts. I mean, there's other guys that came and went, and they were fun and friendly, but this one it is has been 50 years, and I can still feel the pain. So I am sad about that. But for poor eighth, ninth grade Cheryl, she struggled for a while. But you know me, I'm never down for long. So I'm sure there were more boys in my future, which you'll find out about next week. But
Yeah, I do remember much of that. I certainly don't know all those details. I knew it was during this time frame that he also got his red Camaro first, Princeton colored Camaro maybe, and then he traded or sold that, and got the black Trans Am.
oh yeah. Well, so that's my Jeff story. So I'm going to hand it over to you. We're at 16 minutes and 41 seconds, Steve.
Well, tell me about your Guernsey journal there you just got in the mail.
Oh, you know what? I haven't even opened it yet. It's been a crazy week with the grandson being born and everything. So my first grandson came along about a week ago, and I had three granddaughters, but I never had a grandson. So
So you're allowed to talk about
really,
this guy now?
I'm allowed to talk about it. We're just not going to post it on Facebook. So, but I can
What's
talk
his
about it.
name?
His name is Callan James McMeeking. He doesn't have red hair that I could tell. I think it's more dark, but his mother has dark hair, so that makes complete sense. But he is the prettiest little baby boy. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. So I get to go over there tomorrow and hang out with them and hold the baby and see what I can do to help them.
I don't remember
My
these
son,
details. Where do they live and what is he doing
uh,
now?
um, Josh works for the company that Zach used to work for. Zach quit and went on to a different company, and Josh still works for that company, but I can't remember the name of it. But my two boys both have like, I don't think, I can't remember if one of them's a CPA or not, but they both are into financial. That's what they went to business school at Eastern Michigan University. They both graduated with financial degrees of some sort.
Okay.
Um, so Josh is in that, and he's been doing it for quite some time. And they moved last summer. Um, we closed on their house September 26th, which is Josh's birthday. They moved from Canton, Michigan down to Marysville, Ohio. So they're only about 20-minute drive from me. And so I can see that baby whenever I want. Just got to drive up there and say hi.
Yeah. Well,
So
as
yeah,
you
they're,
may recall, we spent a year in Marysville back in 1996, and that's where our daughter Adelaide was born. And the one thing I remember about Marysville, I worked at Denison Hydraulics down there by Scott, by the
oh yeah,
Scott.
I drive past that all the time. There's like blocks and blocks of Scott stuff.
Yeah. But I worked in a cubicle there. I worked on the computer. I built their first website and did a catalog on CD-ROM. But the computer screens back in those days, they kind of, I think they bothered a lot of people, but they bothered me, and I didn't sleep well a lot of times. And Bartholomew was a baby. He was, a toddler, and I would put him in the umbrella stroller and walk him around at night. Um, and this is like, 9, 10 o'clock at night or whatever. And
Yeah, it'd be interesting to
well,
see if your neighborhood is anywhere close to where they live. They kind of are on the northeast corner of Marysville.
or east. Say we were on the northwest. I mean, it's 611 Wagon Wheel Lane is where we lived.
Yeah.
Um, so,
And he lives on Trophy Drive.
but I would walk around downtown Marysville with him, and then sometimes I would wake up in the middle of the night and just couldn't sleep, and I would literally just go walk the streets of Marysville. It was like a quarter mile just to get to downtown, maybe a half mile even. And there was a couple occasions where the police officers pulled over and were like, hey, dude, are you okay? Like maybe I was suicidal or something.
Right.
And I was like, guys, I'm just out here just trying to walk it off, walk off my hangover, I guess, But I had computer screen hangover is what I had. But
It seems like a really nice town, though.
yeah, now it's changed a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
everything around Columbus is growing like crazy.
we really enjoyed our time there in Marysville, and then we took off and went to Gainesville, Florida. So,
Yeah.
well,
Well,
hey,
cool.
thanks for sharing your story, and we will be on tomorrow night with Testimony Tuesday. I got some things I want to talk to you about there, Cheryl, and maybe if you're interested, we can have you do that one with us too. So,
All right. Well, I'll just hang out here.
okay, all right, sounds good. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off.
All right.
I actually dropped my mic in the water. It came
Oh,
off
that
my
was
head,
smart.
and fortunately, it seems like it's still fine. So,
Yeah.